and said that she asked me to speak a little bit more about what I mentioned about this guy on the radio program that said that the worst part of his childhood, or what he wishes, was that people wouldn't try to make him normal. And what does that mean? And that is a very, very important question, because as a parent, what do you do? I mean, you want to help your child, but you don't want them to say 30 years later that the worst part was that you tried to make them normal. And I'll tell you, Amy, what the answer for that is not trying to make them normal. I don't try to make anybody normal. I wouldn't know how to be normal. Yeah, clap for that one. Yeah, that's right. I don't even know what normal is, and usually what normal is absolutely uninteresting for me. I'm not on this planet to be normal. I'm on this planet to be inspired, to inspire, to make a difference for people. So when I approach your child, or when you approach your child, you're there to contribute and provide opportunities for him. But you come from a place of that's what you like, not from a place that something is wrong with him. See, now that I've started working on but I will start next month working on my book with my work with children. The one thing that keeps coming up, and I have to remember to write it in probably the very first sentence. Email that to me, please. When I work with a special needs child, I never see anything wrong with the child. Ever. I see the child. I see the best I can where they are, who they are, what they're doing, what they're not doing. But I never experience anything to be wrong. I never experience anything to be wrong. Then everything I see, they can't do this, they do that. When you talk to them, they go to San Francisco. When you do this, they jump over to Eureka. I say, oh, that's an opportunity that they could have other possibilities. And you have seen me now work with your boy numerous times, and you see on the whole how empowered he is each time. I believe that most of the empowerment comes from where I come from, where I am with him. It also creates the opening for him to learn and change and be thrilled with it. But it's his change, it's his learning. You see, every parent of a special needs child, you stop crying because you make me cry. Oh, look at them. So what gets you to cry? You speak now. Some of you just say, okay, Amy wants it. You're moved. What's moving you?
I think where I get stuck, or
louder, a little bit, sweetie. Or put the volume up, make it easier for her.
Thank you. Where it's a little squishier, I have a hard time understanding is, I feel that implied in the trying to make me normal is trying to fix me. And where is that line then? I mean, what I want for my son is for him to be able to be as independent as possible at every stage. And I want to accept where he is and who he is, too.
Okay, I have something that came to me that I want to say about it, but I want the other crying people here to talk. Only if you cry, you're allowed to talk. Here. Okay.
I think for me, in my daughter at a young age, I could see the intelligence in her, but nobody else in the medical field could see that. They could only see her faults and what was wrong with her. And so this is the first thing that is truly genuine, that sees where she's at, but doesn't say that she's not normal. You saying that there's nothing wrong, it's just like, it's so comforting because you're seeing her. Yes. And that's where the possibilities lie and the miracles happen.
I say, Yeah, I think it's in the beginning when you find out that your son's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. Your life just goes and there's, and you figure out that even being open-minded and all that, you're inside of that box of perfection, like you expect to be everything the same way. So when the change comes, your whole world change and everything, you see change. Because like when Theo came, and he's so beautiful, he's such an incredible human being. And I learned to look at him in a certain way. And it's hard when you go out and people look at him differently and you feel that. It's really hard. And kind of like observe in a certain way. Now I'm tough on that, but before it would hurt me so bad. So when I brought him here and I saw you with him, I saw that you saw him. It's like, yes, they're having a relationship, because what I feel from Theo too, that if someone look at him like that, he doesn't even relate to the person. He doesn't. He doesn't even, if the person doesn't see him, he wouldn't relate to it. So it's just so good to be in this journey and have someone that sees him, and it's giving him all those tools for him to grow. So thank you, Anat. It's just like you being here in this journey is just like, priceless. Just I feel very fortunate.
A long time ago, I stopped looking at Lucas as wanting him, like you said, you're trying to make your kid normal. And the first thing that I stopped doing was using the word normal. What is normal? So, I went to several different schools and they used the word typical. So I like to use the word, typical. It's just a word, but it really helps in thinking that, I'm not trying to make my child anything. I'm trying to do what Amy, sorry, I'm saying your kid's name. But I'm trying to give him the best to, have the most independence in that. But I have great comfort now and excitement actually with this work and other therapies we're doing, and what we're giving to my son is no longer I want him to be normal, I want him to be something. I'm just giving him the possibilities to be something, because he's going to dictate it as we continue along here. And as a parent, if I don't do that, and I don't know, maybe it's different on the dad's side. If I just don't do that, I'm not fulfilling my job as a parent, as a father, and looking at, and I'm not comparing anybody in this room for sure, but other parents that aren't doing anything for their kids, I see they're missing out on the possibilities of their children. So, I use that as empowerment to, be emotionally, I don't know, I don't want to say emotionally stable, but I like I like the strength in the journey that I'm on now, instead of ever having to question, having my kid be on a radio show someday and going, I wish my dad would have never made me try to be normal, or I wish my mom would have never tried to make me normal. So I'm just excited about the journey. So.
Okay, so I'm gonna take it here because we're reaching pretty much the end of the day, or have reached. But I want to say, so what do you do? So I love what you just said, Ed. Look at, you have a normal or healthy or typical, or just a child that there's no consideration of anything not being right. And you still put enormous investment into a child. I mean, children don't grow on their own. Children are useless and helpless and hapless when they're born. I mean, they go nowhere. They reach nothing without enormous amount of care and love and teaching and enrichment and opportunities and possibilities. And you read them bedtime stories and you explain them, figure out how to handle their little playmate in the sandbox. That's through sand in their eyes. And I mean, you create distinctions for them. I mean, you are there. That's another thing I've mentioned already. I mean, the human brains grow in a community of brains. Human brains don't grow on their own. And not only human brains, mammals in general, but human brains, in certain ways, to a greater and more extreme degree than other living beings, because we really don't know anything when we're born. There's no other animal that's so helpless for such an extended period of time like human beings. So that's the dependency and that's the opportunity. So in that sense, a special needs child is no different from a healthy, normal child. There's absolutely zero difference. The difference, one of the differences is that when we do our normal things, which is put them in a carriage, take them to a playground, sit there and watch, kids in that sense raise themselves, with enough love and safety and clothed and changed and fed, they raise themselves. Nobody teaches a child to walk, and anyone who takes a healthy child and starts teaching them to walk or sit or do things actually mess them up. Because people don't understand the process, and the child really needs just the opportunity to experiment enough, and it'll have an optimal growth process. So we don't want even to interfere when we don't need to. But you don't talk to your child, they won't speak. You don't show them books, they won't read. So what happens with a special needs child or a special needs adult, like all of us are here, otherwise we wouldn't be in this training, what happens is, but that's your advantage because you know. So you come and you're working on yourself and you're giving yourself opportunity to grow and fulfill upon your own destiny. That's what you're doing here, not just here, but that's what we're doing here. Is that when you do your normal activity with a special needs child, the outcomes are not coming the way they're supposed to. They're not relating to you. They're autistic. They're not walking. They have spasticity. They're They're genetic this. Or they are undiagnosed. We don't know what the hell's going on. Or they seem to be fine, but then at age 5, all of a sudden they can't handle school. Or, whatever goes on. And that's where, and what I was going, you see the famous Einstein saying, that the solution to the problem cannot be found at the level at which it was created. So when we're at the level of trying to fix the child, we're stuck in the loop. We're either trying to fix the child or we are neglecting the child. At that level, you cannot find another way of doing it. It's like the either or one. It's a very compulsive state. Something is noisy. It's either a compulsive state of a 0-1. So I'm either like you have to walk, start doing things and also reduce the anxiety of everybody around the child, because when the child does what you expect them to do, everybody relaxes. So it serves, and it's okay. It's okay that we're motivated. We're supposed to be anxious when our kids are not doing well. We're not, but then, and that's the part, and that's the part you're doing here in this training, and that you actually, if you want to resolve this, need to go after intentionally all the time, and that reach higher, and excuse me for the use of the word, but higher and higher levels of enlightenment as a parent. Greater evolution as a parent. So, or as a human being. We need that in all relationships. We need it in a relationship with ourselves. But just the last week I was working, a wonderful mother with a gorgeous child who is not yet standing or walking. She has whatever she walks, but she's very intelligent, very beautiful. And another kid that I just finished working was already managed, so he walks, kind of, he's a little bit like funny, but he, with the hands on the wall. So he's walking facing the wall with the head to the side like that. And the girl was busy trying to actually come up on the knees, holding to the mother's legs. And the mother sees the kid, and she says to the child, look at him walking. And I said, no, she has no need to look at him walking. You see, and I understood, it's absolutely zero criticism of the mother. But I knew where she came from. She was hoping if she'll see him walking, she'll figure it out. If she could, she would. So what comes in there, and I'm giving you just one little nugget. And now our kids don't need perfection. If we raised our kids perfectly, they wouldn't know how to live in this world, because we're living in a really messed up world. And if I had one client that had as close to a perfect childhood as I ever known, and she couldn't manage the world. Her mother loved her in an incredible way. The father and mother had incredible, I'm telling you the truth. They had lots of money. I mean, they had this amazing life, and then she grew up, and then she had to live. So she isolated herself. And she just stayed with her brothers and sisters. You know, she just stayed in that cocoon. So mess up with your kids from time to time. It's good for them. And let them complain about it later. But the thing is, I want that mother, and she got it. She got it, and we talked about it. She came in for a lesson after that. She got it that, who am I doing this now for? Am I doing it for me? Or am I doing it for my child? Now, sometimes you'll say, I'm doing it for me, and darn that kid, I'm going to continue. Because you also matter. As long as you don't harm your child, as long as you're not, violent or abusive. It's okay to do things for yourself. Hello? Not to mention that you need to do well enough to keep taking care of that, those little things that we're supposed to love all the time. So, and we do. We really love them, but it's challenging. So we need to take care of ourselves also. But you ask yourself, who am I doing it for and what for? And you have enough room inside yourself to back off when it doesn't serve a real good purpose. So if I'm going to yank that little thing at 10 months old, and I'm going to put that sitting, and I'm going to put it sitting, and I'm going to put it sitting, hoping it'll stick somehow, then who am I doing it for? Certainly not for the kid. If you stop for 1 minute and you give yourself permission to feel, to connect to the child, to see, to experience it from the point of view of the child, not from the point of view looking into them being 18 or 20 years old, you won't do it. You will stop on the spot. You will look for another way. But you don't stop to looking for ways to have them have that option if possible. That's how I do it. So you already have it. So you and I loved what all of you said, because this is, I see the child. I really see the child. And I don't know if I can help the child. Every one of you who's worked with us or with me have heard, I said, I cannot make any promises. There's no way, I don't know. Just like you don't know, like nobody knows. But I don't say what's not possible. I might say what I don't know to do. I say, I don't know, let's go for it. And the only thing I look for is to perceive that a difference has occurred. This is it, done. That's all I look for. If a difference can occur, then the next difference can occur. And if the next difference can occur, then the third difference can occur. And that is how you grew up. This is how I grew up. This is how the normal people grow up. And this is how the special needs children will grow up. Because let me tell you, when a special needs child or a special needs adult or a normal adult, which is always very sad, normal adults are sad people. So when you go to do something for anyone, it's always the next difference. Today, when you did the lesson, did you know that you would feel the way you would or change the way you move the way you did? There's no way you could know it. Nobody knows it because it's not here yet. But we know the process. Does that help you, Amy? That empowers you, that empowers your child. And you know me, sometimes I really put some pretty clear boundaries on those kids. I'm not afraid of them. But I don't do it to fulfill my needs. And if I have a need to distance myself from the child because it's too hard for me at that moment, I'll say I need to stop the lesson because I'm not handling this very well. You understand? I mean, it doesn't happen very often. I don't think you've ever seen me like that, but it has happened in the past. Or I've had times where I asked the parent to leave the room because the parent did things that were interfering in my ability to connect with the child. So I do what I feel. I'm real. I'm authentic. But does that help? And that's an enlightened state. The state in which you can observe yourself and have choices and have some guidance to what to choose. You have a purpose, you have an intent. I have a full intent for kids to stand, to run, to jump, to do everything. But before that intent, or a bigger intent, is for the child to feel whole and to have the fullest life they can have. That's what I really am after. And it's not always being like other people. And actually, it's never being like other people for the normal ones and for the abnormal ones. It's never that. It's always finding your expression. So what that man said on the radio was that he was not seen. He was overridden. The anxiety of his environment to help him isolated him from himself and from them. And that's what we don't want to do. And it's very hard to not do it, at least sometimes. I know I've done it with my daughter way more often than I would like to admit. Well, she'll have to cope. I mean, we all do the best we can at any given moment. But as practitioners, when we get somebody for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, we can do it pristine because it's a unit at a time. You get paid for it. You move to the next one. You get paid for it. It's nothing personal. Absolutely, it's 100% commitment on my part, 100% connection. But it's 100% not about me, for sure, and it's not about them either. It's about the opportunity that's there for the two of us to see what we can do.